The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to our review show here of Impact Wrestling's No Surrender 2023 from February 24th from Sam's Town Live at Sunrise Manor, Nevada. I like that. Sunrise Manor. That's cool. I'm Karlifornia. This is Jooseyboy. Bro, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, my brother. And, I thought it was a pretty decent show that we saw here at No Surrender. I'm going to say that right off the bat. And I'm excited to talk about it here today with you for all of our viewers.
Here's to you, bro.
Yep, you've got the VB. I've got the Sprite Zero.
You're such a Jim Cornette thing to do.
I've also just got water.
I do too, bro. I do too. Okay. So I don't want all you people out there thinking us Aussies just drink beer all the time. Coffee?
Like we do, but yeah.
C-O-V-A. Yeah.
Yeah, as Australians actually also drink a lot of coffee as well. But, you know, we're not known for it. It's not known to be our thing, but everyone is obsessed with it.
They are. I'm not really obsessed with it. But anyway, what I am obsessed with, unfortunately, is wrestling. Bro, let's get into this. Hey, let's get into this. Okay. For once, you actually watched a pre-show. I think this is a first. I don't think you've ever watched a pre-show in the history of doing these reviews. Amazing, bro. What convinced you this time to give it a whirl?
Well, because I realized that it was really only just the one pre-show match, and they didn't spend ages just outstaying their welcome, as I feel a lot of pre-shows do. And also, I was watching it, and the pre-show was just automatically still attached to the feed.
Yeah.
And so I just decided to watch it straight from the beginning. And of course, Jonathan Gresham, Speedball Bailey, two guys that I am a big fan of. So, that's a match that, could have been on the main card, for God's sake.
Of course. But you know that there were two matches on the pre-show, right?
Well, I only watched that match.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch, yeah. I was all excited for the pre-show review from Jooseyboy, and you only watched half of it. How dare you?
Well, yeah,
okay.
So
I'll take the first match. Okay, I'll take the first match here. All right. Gisele Shaw taking on Deonna Purrazzo, and I wrote, "How is Deonna on the goddamn countdown show?" But look, some matches have to go on the pre-show. Deonna needs to be the Knockouts champ again at some point for another solid reign, because I thought she was a good champion. One thing though, Deonna, don't do standing moonsaults. Okay, yeah. if you go this direction, not up and down, then maybe don't do them. Red Velvet shouldn't do them. But that's okay. That's one thing that I had to complain about. I think Gisele's improving every month. This did seem like it could have been a main card match. Savannah Evans interfered, the former hired muscle for Tasha Steelz, and helped Gisele get the win with a massive knee strike. So that was a pretty big win for Gisele Shaw. Okay, let's move forward, bro. Jonathan Gresham and Mike Bailey. What the fuck was this doing on the Countdown show? As you just said, bro, take it away. What did you think of this classic right here?
Okay, so this was a very, very good match, and it's going to be getting a C+ from me, and that may seem a little low.
It's low.
But I think you're going to agree with my reasons why when I laid it out.
Because as you said that, I thought you were about to say a Jooseyboy recommendation, but you gave it a C+, so that's okay. Continue, sorry.
So, I'm a massive fan of both these two guys, and one thing that I loved about this match overall was the story of the kicks versus Gresham's ability to work over the body parts, work over the legs. And that was exactly the story that I was hoping to see these two tell when I saw that they were going to be having a match, and they really delivered on it. Why it's only getting a C+ as opposed to a more higher rating is because there were a few things where I thought the immersion of this being a really highly dangerous, high intensity contest there was a couple of things that felt overly cooperative. There was like a couple of the slap exchanges that felt really overly kind of just, oh yeah, we're just standing here and letting each other do this. Stuff like that just sort of rubs me the wrong way. I can't really help it. It just kind of makes me go, oh, come on, guys. So there was a couple little things like that just for me, I'm sure a lot of fans of the modern style wouldn't have cared, but in terms of the actual dives that they did and the sort of outside stuff, I liked that. I thought that those were placed well throughout the match and that it was logical in how they reached those spots. It's just a couple of those things, again, like I said, with the slap exchange and a few other moments where it looked a little bit too hokey for me and it looked a little too pre-planned. But a very, very good match overall. Definitely could have been on the main card.
Excellent, bro. Yes, Gresham signs with Impact. Kazarian's there now. It looks like Impact is the place for people who are misused by Tony Khan. So I'm sure Brian Cage and Miro and everyone will be in Impact soon.
Honestly, I would honestly, I can say I would be excited to see that. Like, increasingly, the more Impact I watch, I can say that.
So yes, slow, methodical, technical stalemate to get things underway for this match. Got real good when they picked up the pace. I think Mike Bailey needs an actual storyline. I like to see his range as an all-round character. And yes, the chop kick battle was a little bit off for me as well, because I didn't like that Gresham would do the chop, but because he's right-handed, when Mike Bailey goes for that kick, Gresham had to actually turn his whole body to take the left leg kick. So that for me didn't work for me, brother. But you know what? I thought that those two really did go for it, and good that they did, even if it was just a pre-show. The crowd seemed to get into it. Good finish. Hopefully, it opens up the possibility of a rematch. Let's get to the main pay-per-view here, bro. No Surrender 2023. Santino Marella, the director of Authority, opens the show. Jooseyboy, I know you like your comedy. That first joke of his was a massive fail.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, okay, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And then this joke that he made about, like, he was
I don't think
in an orange jumpsuit, and his wife saw all these pictures, and I was just like, dude, where are you going with this?
What did you do? It felt really like, what are you talking about? But not in a way where I don't think the audience really picked up the vibe that he was trying to put down. I think the audience looks at him as lovable Santino Marella, and now he has the cute little sheriff's badge around his neck, and because he's the authority figure and stuff now. And I think he is that endearing authority figure, sort of like a Teddy Long, you know, that people want to see and they get a kick out of seeing. Not that I think anyone was offended by the Las Vegas joke that he tried to think, but I just think it didn't land. I just think it was awkward. I think it felt forced. Whereas the rest of what he said, it felt like he was just, you know, yeah, he's doing the accent, but he still just was organically delivering what needed to be put across. And the joke itself was...
It's like he got to the punchline, and then I think he could see in his face, like,
he realized
as he was saying it, he realized, okay, this isn't funny. I'm fucking this up. Anyway, I just thought it was something that I should mention, because it's very rare that Santino delivers something comedic and fails. So he's out there, and he's the first matchup is going to be Frankie Kazarian taking on Con, aka Connor from, what was that tag team called again?
The Ascension, bro.
The Ascension, that's it, the Ascension. But you know, interesting to see Con in one of the major promotions for the first time in I don't know how many years.
Excuse me, it's Big Con.
Oh, Big Con. Okay. Okay, so here's again the problem with not keeping up with the weekly TV show. I didn't realize that Violent by Design have just become the design now, and Deonna is now the leader. I'm guessing they kicked Eric Young out or something, and there's going to be some sort of, Judgment Day-esque storyline where the former leader comes back for revenge. Just assuming. Maybe that's not the case. But anyway, I admire Kazarian, bro. I admire him because he left AEW. He could have stayed. His contract could have rolled over for another 2 years, I believe. And he bet on himself, and he's like, no. I want to be a part of something where I actually get to be involved and create content and memories in this last little part of my career. Very cool, Frankie. Santino did make me laugh, though, when he said that Con's father's name was Popcon. That was really a good dad joke right there. So you know what, bro? I realized I'd never seen Big Con, show what he's capable of, really. I never really saw anything of the Ascension except from like maybe 2 or 3 matches here or there. So I thought this is a big opportunity for him, that big bastard. I don't know if you noticed this, mate, but the ring was making this incessant squeaking noise the whole fucking show.
Yeah.
Where's the WD-40, bro?
I kept on hearing that, like, the ropes needed to, everything needed to be, lubricated, man. Like,
lots of things need lubrication, bro. But the fact of the matter is, I kept pausing it because I was like, what is that noise? I thought it was coming from outside my house. No, it was the ring. Please, someone grease it up, woman. They give it a fair amount of time. It actually wasn't too bad. Con ends up getting clocked with a chair from Sami Callihan, who's trying to join the group, and then he cops a Kaz cutter. Good finish. Nice opener. Bro, your thoughts?
Okay, so they mentioned on commentary that this was Big Con's first ever singles match on pay-per-view, ever, basically. So basically the first time he'd ever been in this position on a major show that wasn't an independent event, because the whole time he was in WWE, he was always a part of the Ascension, all the way from NXT through his period of time on the main roster. I thought that he acquitted himself extremely well. Like, I thought that this worked for me. I think that he plays the big powerhouse role really well. I'm going to give this one a C+ as well. I think that this went maybe a little too long in the tooth. I think that it could have been shored up by, 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes. And I think, they could have still done everything that they did in it and just condensed it a tiny bit. And that would have maybe given it a slight bit more intensity, but that's probably nitpicking. Overall, I thought it was good. I don't really like the idea of having 2 members of the design at ringside plus Deonna at the head of the ramp. I think that you could have just done with maybe you could have had Callihan like standing behind Deonna, kind of flanking him at the head of the ramp there to make Deonna look a bit more important and emphasize that Callihan is trying to get his way into the group. And then you could have had Angels, who's already a member of the group, have him be the one down at ringside being the corner man. Again, a nitpick. Those are the kind of things that I noticed, though, because I'm a big fan of managers and such. But overall, I am looking forward to seeing Big Con, and I'm looking forward to seeing where both these two go from here.
Yeah. As far as that nitpick's concerned, I think that was an unsolicited nitpick, mate. Okay, so just saying. No pop. Okay. Coming up next, Foxy Eyes GM Miller backstage with Brian Myers. Bland.
Yeah, but she's a beautiful woman, though.
Oh, she's gorgeous, but
what an outfit she was wearing,
Brian Myers is like, and I don't want trying to be mean, but he's like the default wrestler. Like, it's just,
Yeah, dude. He is, man. He's
I'm
like
dying for him to do something interesting.
He's like one of the fucking like create a moveset dummies that you like when you test out your moves, like on one of the games. You know, that's what he's like. You just feel like clicking square and
Yeah,
having him try out moves, but he doesn't really. There's just no. There's no id factor from him, unfortunately.
it's kind of like Curtis Axel,
Yeah,
very
well,
good in the
actually,
ring.
Curtis Axel's lack of charisma eventually became a form of charisma for me, and he started to get over with me. But
You got a soft spot.
I get what you mean. Yeah. Brian Myers seems like a nice guy. Personally, I've heard a bunch of podcasts with him on it. He's obviously good in the ring. I just think his whole look, it looks very mid card to me. It's just the way that I feel. I'm looking forward to hopefully being proven wrong one day, and maybe he'll eventually find that next level that he's always been missing for his career. But
I hate being negative on someone who's clearly a good person, but
sorry.
You're boring. You're boring. All right, so coming up next is the Hex taking on the Death Dollz for the Knockouts Tag Team titles. I really liked the package before this because James Mitchell appears to be involved in this. So that guy should always have a job in wrestling until the day he dies. But I thought it was a good way to bring the Hex to Impact. And I've been saying it forever when we watched the NWA, that Impact needed a team like this because they were so, it was such slim pickings for the women's tag division. And I think the Hex are in the top 3 women's tag teams in the world. But anyway, getting to the match, Jooseyboy, what did you think of the Hex against the Death Dollz?
So I like the Hex. I think that Marty Bell needs to stop using the suffix hex and then replacing, the beginning of a word with hex or making something rhyme with hex just because they're called the Hex. She did it with a few different words in the promo, and I was like, we get it, I think she said hexceptional, and it's just like,
oh my God. Yeah, that's right.
on,
Yeah.
I
want to have Hex with Gia Miller.
Yeah, I want to have Hex with Allison Kay.
You said the exact same example.
I know. I know. Sorry. Anyway, no, I think this was a good match. What I really like about Impact's women's division is that they've really carried over the legacy that TNA, one of the shining points of TNA, along with the X division, was the Knockouts division, and the way that they always treated their women's division with a level of respect and importance that wasn't there in the WWE.
Yeah.
And maybe I wasn't even that conscious of that fact at the time when I was watching Impact and WWE on a weekly basis, but they've continued that with their women's division up into this present iteration of Impact. I feel it always has a sense of importance to it. The women's tag team titles in WWE, you forget that they're even there. I don't even know who the champions are, but it was treated like these were just as important as any other championships in the company. The highlight package beforehand did a great job of setting the stage. So that's a compliment to the production, because you always, when you have a pay-per-view like this, you want to assume that you've probably drawn in some people that aren't watching the TV show on a weekly basis, especially when it's on such a channel like ASX. It's not exactly millions of people watching it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think that the Hex should continue to be a cornerstone of the Knockouts division in Impact Wrestling.
Cool. Did you give it a rating?
C-.
I love that it took you a second and a half to just go through A, B, C, D. no C, no C minus. Like
Yeah.
you figured it out. You know what? Your system's bullshit. Okay.
No, it's based on more than just stats and numbers. It's also about emotion and it's about humanity. You know what I mean?
You know, I mean, I'd have to give Jooseyboy's ABCD system. I have to give that 0 stars. I mean, my God, I mean, it's just like a poor man's, Dave Meltzer 5-star system. My God.
Oh, fuck, man. You know what? And by the way, just quickly before we move on to Carl's little review here.
Little review. So condescending.
Fuck the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards.
Oh,
right?
Fuck that, man. Such bullshit.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Carl.
That's
Fuck
right,
off.
mate.
Go ahead.
So I had a problem focusing on this match because of the commentary and audio issues for the first half of the match. So that kind of took me out of things because I don't know. It's like wrong with me. I think, the Hex are what I look for in a tag team. They have a name. They match one another. I like it. I thought these two teams worked well together. Looking forward to this hopefully continuing. But I did think Taya Valkyrie stood out the most in the match. She's been doing really good work the last year and a half or so that I've actually finally been watching her do some stuff. I kind of felt the Hex were taking a lot of the beating in this match, and there was a lot of hate on them. So I wanted to see more of a shine for the heels here. But I thought the finish was very good. I expect the feud to continue, and I think the Hex should take the belts at some point. That would make them, as it said in the graphic, the first women's tag team to have been NWA and Impact World Tag Team Champions. I do think, though, that James Mitchell should have been here at the show and should have maybe been involved to add a layer to the story. I'm assuming the story is continuing because it would be really strange if they would disappear at this point. Anyway, let's move forward, bro. The Dot Combat match for the Digital Media Championship. Joe Hendry, the champion, taking on Moose. The amount of hectic matches I've seen Moose go through in the last year and a half is... The guy really goes for it. He's got my respect. I find Joe Hendry's entrance to be so fucked. It's just so painful, but like in a good way. It pops me. I was not happy about the possible destruction of a Sega Dreamcast. You realize how much money those things cost? Even if it doesn't work anymore, get it fixed. I was offended. I was offended by that. But the match got underway. The Uranagi through the table was a great starting point for me to be invested, I suppose I should say. I did pop the remote control car, but I would, the little one that he had at first.
Yeah.
The remote control car goes towards Moose, and instead of Moose kicking out of the ring, I would have had him stomp on it.
Yeah.
And then I would have had a tight shot of Joe frowning about it. Like a little kid is. Then there was the bigger remote control car that didn't move, but I laughed so loud when he just picked it up and threw it at Moose's dick and balls.
Oh man, yeah, same.
Oh man, fuck, that was great stuff. Great choke bomb from Moose. I liked the keyboard. It's the keyboard caps instead of the thumbtacks because it's a dot combat match. Yeah. But of course, Moose is the one that takes a fucking superplex bump because he's an absolute soldier there in Impact. And I thought this was very good. Joe Hendry has won my active interest now. Beforehand, I was like, oh, yeah, he's all right. Now I'm like, okay, now I've noticed him. But one thing that I kind of didn't like was the VR stuff, the virtual reality stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why would Moose knows he's in the middle of a wrestling match? Like he knows, like all of a sudden he's like feeling some chick's ass.
I
The
popped
VR
for
thing.
Moose himself though, like it was.
It's kind of funny now I think about it, but then he's dancing and
Yeah,
shit.
no,
And,
that
yeah.
it was stupid. We can't let them get away with it, but I
Nah.
still have to give Moose points for the dance moves themselves. Like I laughed at that. Like this guy used to play professional football and shit. Like,
Anyway, Fraser's finished the match. Joe Hendry retains. Bro, what did you think?
yeah, I went into this preparing to be really not happy with it.
Really?
Joe Hendry ended up winning me over. I don't know if I'd ever seen him before, maybe once before, but I was immediately like, this guy is just a relentless fuckhead, and throughout the match it started to win me over. Like he committed to it, and he is committed to it, and he knows the character. But the thing is, the sort of the humor of the character, it does not undercut his wrestling ability. You still believe him as a competitor in the match, and that's why it works. It's a delicate balance, especially in a match like this, the dot combat match. It definitely plays up to his strengths. That's why I was initially reticent about it, because I was like, man, they've got Moose doing this now. It seems like they've really downgraded Moose. I hope they're not turning him into a goofy, thing like WWE would have done, in years past. As I watched the match, though, I realized that it's been Joe Hendry fucking with him, and that's what's made Moose look goofy. And Moose takes himself ultra seriously, and therefore he's even more of a target for this kind of shit than the average person would be, because he just can't let it go, So as it went on, I'm like, okay, I get this. I'm in this. This is, it's not beneath Moose. Moose is elevating this up, and Joe Hendry's winning me over. One thing that popped me huge, even before he kicked the little remote control car out of the ring, was when he first set up the tiny remote control car and then set it off, and it's speeding towards Moose. Tom Phillips is going, no, get out of the way, like it's a real car that's being driven towards Moose.
Yeah.
And then it literally just hits Moose's foot or whatever. I can't even. And then he kicks it out. It's like, why are you selling it like that? It's clearly a toy car. And then Phillips also popped me again later on in the match after Hendry did something to Moose. I think it was when he belted him with the keyboard, and Phillips called Hendry the Scottish keyboard warrior, obviously a play on Drew McIntyre's nickname, because Hendry's also from Scotland. So yeah, this thing actually really worked for me. I'm giving it a B-. I actually at this point was like, okay, Impact's putting on another great show here. Every time they put on a show and I tune in, it never disappoints. So this match was probably the point in which I really started to get into the show.
Very nice, very nice. And I always forget Tom Phillips's real name is Tom Hannafin, and I gotta drill it into my mind, because I too keep saying Tom Phillips. Well, that really matters. We all know who he is.
Yeah.
So anyway, after this, Gia is backstage with Mickie. Typical babyface promo. Let's move forward. The next segment was the conversation between Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer. Jooseyboy, take it away.
You want me to go first, man?
Well, hang on. Didn't you go first? No, I went first for Joe Hendry and Moose, so you have to go. I'm just trying to be fair.
All right, yeah.
Unless you want me to go first, then I'll go first. But
Well, fucking nah. All right, I'll go. So this, I went into this cold, and I'm not really a huge fan of either of these guys. These days. Anyway, however, the fact that they are doing a little personal program issue between them that's built upon their friendship going all those years back. Oh shit! Just hit something on my keyboard. Going all those
You're
years
having your
back.
own combat match.
I am. So we've got here a personal issue between Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer, two people that wrestling fans worldwide, they know who they are. The history between these guys is well documented. They've wrestled in all different promotions with each other. They both obviously co-host on Busted Open Radio with Dave LaGreca, which they worked into this. I watched the highlight package, which seemed to suggest this was become a really personal issue between them, and they've decided to book a mediation session of some sort on this pay-per-view with Dave LaGreca kind of mediating the discussion. So I was quite iffy about this, and it's not only because I'm not huge fans of theirs, but it's also because they're not doing a match, you know, like, are they building towards a match? What kind of match are these two even able to have? Those things are still up in the air for me, because I thought these guys were mostly retired by now. And the stuff that they were saying that's really personal and really, they're obviously trying to go for that work, shoot, ECW vibe, which was cool. I like what they're doing, because you can believe that they would actually know all this personal information about one another that they're able to then weaponize against one another. And I liked the touch of the clip from Busted Open Radio itself where LaGreca sort of goes, you know, this is bullshit between you guys. You guys are doing this bullshit feud between you guys as wrestlers, but, you know, it's fucking with my business. Like, we're all supposed to be doing a podcast here. That adds another layer of realism to it. I really liked that. Yeah. Tommy Dreamer comes out. Bully ends up talking first. He uses most of his 60-second time period to say nothing, and then he says, I'm sorry. Tommy has his 60 seconds. He basically says, that's bullshit. You know, we're way past sorry. You know, blah, blah, blah. At that point, the opportunity to talk returns to Bully. He says, we're all friends. We know each other very well here. Let's do away with the 60-second thing, and I'm going to talk honestly. At this point, you know, Bully went into a pretty good promo here, like talking about how he regrets some serious remarks that he made about Tommy Dreamer's mother, and, you know, was relating some probably, you know, semi-true at the very least anecdotes about the friendship between him and Tommy Dreamer. And, you know, made what seemed like a very, very sincere sort of attempt to be like, even if we can't repair the damage that I've done throughout this feud between us, you know, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if something happened and our friendship was fractured by this. So let's make amends. And even if we never talk to each other again, you know, let's at least make amends, and that'll be where we stand going forward. That's the essence of what Bully said in his turn here. This actually does have a Jooseyboy recommendation. Go out of your way to see it, because I can't really do it justice. It was a great piece of promo work. This reminded me, not necessarily in quality, but it's like, okay, you know, Impact is seeing that, you know, you can do these long promo segments and stuff like that. WWE with the Bloodline storyline has kind of popularized them and kind of re-energized that as a part of wrestling programs. You know, you used to get segments like that in Jim Crockett Promotions and places like that, where promos were very much an important part of the presentation, and this felt like a throwback to that. So Bully eventually Tommy eventually reluctantly accepts Bully's, you know, apology and everything that he says, and he says, yeah, we can't move on from this and continue being friends, but I appreciate how hard that was for someone like you to do. And so it seems like Tommy has reluctantly accepted to let it become water under the bridge for the sake of both of them and their families and friends being able to move forward. And they portrayed this like it was a real conversation, a real earnest, authentic conversation that was beyond the sphere of professional wrestling. So that part of it alone was good. I was in my mind thinking that's what they're going to do. They're not actually going to have Bully get physical or anything like that. I actually popped pretty huge when he actually did get physical. Tommy was about to finish up his response to what Bully had said, and Bully grabbed the pot of coffee on the table and basically threw the hot coffee into Tommy Dreamer's face and just kept on screaming like, someone like me. So you now don't know whether what Bully was saying was supposed to be genuine moments before and he's now been offended by this, or whether he was always going to snap on Tommy Dreamer and he's just focusing on that line because he's an asshole. So I liked that element of it. So after he throws the coffee in Dreamer's face, when WWE does things like this, it always comes off kind of hokey. Here it felt like, well, it makes sense that they'd have coffee and glasses of water and stuff like that because they're there for a sit-down conversation. So it didn't feel false that the pot of coffee was there, and it didn't feel false that such a dastardly, evil bastard like Bully would get pissed off and resort to burning someone with scalding coffee. So it worked. He kept on screaming, someone like me, and, laid a beat down into Tommy. Dave LaGreca sold it brilliantly, like he was afraid. Eventually Bully kind of backed him up into the ropes by using the chair from the set. Very well played out, laid out. I love when Bully then walked up to him again, grabbed the pot again, and was like, someone like me, douche, and just like smacked it. It reminded me of something like a mobster would do, like when he's been disrespected and he's gonna slap someone around. That's what it felt like, but in a good, non-hokey way. So this won me over by the end of it. I'm curious to see what you thought of it. I kind of gave the play-by-play there, but I wanted to lay out for people at home who might not have seen it the dynamic that was actually being played out in this segment. It was more than just a standard promo segment, in other words.
Yeah, no, you did give the play-by-play there, although it felt like you read the whole fucking transcript, mate.
I know.
No, fair enough. Okay, good. I'm glad that you liked it. I thought it was all right. I think what I was getting frustrated with was the fact that I really wanted to get the show done with so I could start recording the review.
Yeah.
So I could get on with my evening because I'd started watching this a little late in the day here in Australia. So I started getting pissed off with Bully because he seriously took a minute and a half to say something before he said, I'm sorry. I get it. He's trying to sell the fact that he's using up his whole 60 seconds, whatever, but he went nearly 90 seconds not saying anything, and I was getting a little bit steamed. Not that it's his fault. I know what he's trying to do, but time is money, bro. So yeah, look, the content was good, but I felt it went a little bit long. I did like the turn and all the stuff that you mentioned, especially the coffee pot to splat into his face. It was pretty cool. And I also laughed at Dave LaGreca getting shoved down with the bottom end of a chair, and he's out. Like, I think maybe he could have just been like in the corner, like, can't believe this has happened, instead of
they did
out.
have him do that, bro. Remember?
No, he was down for ages before anything else. So
yeah, he was down for a while.
Hopefully they just get to the match next pay-per-view. I hope this doesn't I'd like to see the match. Let's see what they've got. Maybe this is like Tommy's final run here or something. But look, another thing, I am kind of getting a little bit tired of seeing Bully Ray. Because he's in NWA, he's on that show, he's also on Impact, I don't know, it's a little much for me. Anyway, let's move forward, bro. Gia backstage with Rich Swann. I didn't listen to anything he said, So I was pretty much just looking at her the whole time. But oh, what do you know? The cookie cutter interruption of an interview again. I wish some wrestling companies would just not do it for a year. I've said it before. I'll say it every single time. And again, I don't like Gia just standing there when the interview's over.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I was like, that's such a WWE thing.
Yeah,
like you don't need to do that. We don't need to see the announcer character be like, so that we all know that, you know, that's like they're going, hey guys, you know, make sure that you look off in the distance so the audience subliminally knows that they need to wonder where the wrestler must be off to next. You know, it's like really
it's annoying,
patronizing.
Like, I don't know how, like, because it's annoyed me for years. I don't know how people in the companies don't think to themselves, oh, you know what? That is kind of annoying that we do that kind of real dry end to an interview where they're just staring off at someone walking away.
Yeah.
I don't know what problem they have with, okay, we're throwing it to a package now or back to you at ringside or whatever the fuck. Anyway, let's move forward here, bro. So I still have not had dinner. 4-way. Number one contenders match. Whoever wins this match gets a shot at Josh Alexander. So it's Steve Maclin, Brian Myers, Heath Slater, and PCO, four people. So I think, you know, Maclin ahead of time, I was like, he should win this. He should win this. He's done such a good job as a heel for the last year and a half that, you know, I'd like to see that. But I'd also pop if PCO won the match as well. I'm really enjoying the updated presentation of PCO. Just makes him so interesting with the entrance and the bolts in the neck. I thought that was really cool. And within 15 seconds, he'd already taken a real tough bump to the outside. And this is why PCO is my high flyer of the year, bro. It's so funny seeing him fly the way he does because it looks like he shouldn't be able to do the things that he does. He took a backdrop onto the outside floor, like off the stairs. And I just think to myself, how does this old bastard keep going? All my notes were about him. I thought he was the star of the match. He was the most interesting in the match. And I thought him winning would have been interesting to see him and Josh Alexander go at it. But Eddie Edwards does the run in, costs PCO the win. And then Maclin wins pretty much as he should have. But I felt like I didn't really see a lot of the other guys. Maybe I'm obsessed with PCO, bro. So yes, Maclin and Alexander will be fantastic. Your turn. What did you think?
Yeah, so I mean, this match, when I saw that this was coming up, this was immediately exciting. Everyone in this match, I thought this is going to be cool. You know, Heath has impressed me with his work and Impact. I think that he's made a nice little niche for himself there. Brian Myers, it was good to see him getting a somewhat important match on the show. And then I always enjoy both Steve Maclin and PCO, so I was excited to see him in a Fatal 4-Way. But really, it was going to be all about PCO and Steve Maclin for me. I agree with you. I think PCO was absolutely the star of this match, but I think that Maclin as well, I'm really glad that he won. I think he deserves this. I think that he's been an outstanding performer over the past year, and I was really pumped to see him win. There's part of me that's thinking, oh man, a singles between PCO and Maclin would have just been better, but then another part of me thinks, at least in Impact, it feels like they always have a variety of people in the mix for everything.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't just have the same one or two people, you know, cycling through the same things over and over again. So yeah. I appreciate that. This thing was pretty fast and furious. It involved a lot of kind of high-flying and dangerous-looking things without looking contrived and silly. I thought that everything that was supposed to be an offensive dive looked like it could have actually had impact and caused damage to the opponents, as opposed to just being a backflip for the sake of a backflip, to use the PCO assault as an example. and I'm going to give this a B plus and
Ooh.
a Jooseyboy recommendation.
No,
Sorry.
point in the air on a 45-degree angle. Thank you. 45-degree angle. That's straight upward.
What about?
Don't ruin this for me. And that's out of camera.
What about
That, just like that in camera.
like that?
No, okay, you've ruined it. Okay?
Like
I hate. Now, you know, I hate Jooseyboy recommendations.
Okay. No, but it does though, cunts. Go and watch it.
Hey, we're not using that word. Thank you.
Sorry. Go watch it, fuckers.
Trey Miguel comes out afterward. The way he holds the microphone annoys me. I don't know why.
This was weird. This Trey Miguel thing, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the point was. I guess maybe they felt like they should put him on the show, but I thought it was good seeing him be a bit more of a character as opposed to just a guy that has the the matches that he does. And I did pop for PCO choke slamming the shit out of him onto the ring apron.
The clothesline popped me more, like the fact that was the follow-up to the choke slam on the
yeah, why did he need to do another
he absolutely he's got a smile on his face while he waits for this guy to get back up after he's already been through this hellacious match, and he still just takes pleasure in just ripping this kid's head off like with a clothesline.
Excellent, bro. Coming up next though, 6-man tag. No destiny. And Kushida taking on Bullet Club and Kenta. What did you think of this one, Jooseyboy?
Well, I mean, I think everyone involved extremely talented. I thought that was it Kenta or Kushida that was with the Motor City Machine Guns?
That is racist, mate. Okay, that is
No,
racist.
no.
So, well, you can't tell who's who.
I can tell who's who. But
I mentioned Kushida was with Motor City. Kenta was
Kushida,
in the Bullet Club.
Right, of course. I thought Kushida worked pretty well with Motor City Machine Guns as the collective of Time Machine. I actually think that it almost felt like he'd been tagging with him for years, as if they'd been a trio instead of a tag, because it did feel like they flowed really well with all of their double team offense, any combination of the three of them. That was a real highlight of this match for me, because the Motor City Machine Guns used to just have amazing tag matches back in the day, and I felt like along with Kushida on their team, they recaptured some of that magic that I remember from, like, you know, quote unquote, their glory days when they were having incredible tag matches with, you know, Beer Money and Generation Me and, you know, a number of other teams. And Kenta and the Bullet Club, especially Chris Bay, I thought looked outstanding. When I was watching Kenta's performance in this match, I was like, why the fuck did he ever sign with WWE, and how gross is it that they did fuck all with him? And yes, people at home, I know that he got injured, okay? I know he might have even got injured twice. There was still months where he was signed and available and healthy, and they did nothing with him. They gave him nothing to do. He was like a huge name in Japanese wrestling. He moved his whole life to the United States to go to the WWE. I see him perform in this match, and he's showing charisma, and he's still working really well. And I wonder what the fuck WWE was thinking when they had him on their roster. You know, it's great that he's found a home in Impact, but it just hammered home to me that he's yet another great talent that was absolutely wasted when he was over there. Kudos to Impact for, once again, having an eye for talent that's been misused in other places and picking them up. Chris Bay, I think, is a star. We've seen him work in the X Division before. He's doing this Bullet Club thing here. I think he looks great. Pretty much, I think everyone involved in this match had an absolutely incredible performance. There wasn't a ton of heat on it in terms of a personal issue, but it also felt like it had the spirit of a classic, chaotic X Division tag match from, you know, days gone by in TNA/Impact Wrestling. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a B-. I really enjoyed it.
Lovely. So he got injured twice in WWE because I thought he got injured not once, not twice, but thrice. Okay, so I just think to myself, when is the Bullet Club's run going to be over? Like,
Yeah.
how long is this thing going to be going?
And since when were these guys in the Bullet Club? Like,
Well, they've been in it for a little while, but I don't know. Just seems weird that the thing just keeps going. Jay White's not even in New Japan anymore. So I thought this would be a nice palate cleanser. Got a little annoyed that I think I heard the Bullet Club's theme song say "Too Sweet," like exactly the same way that
did.
It's like, okay, we get it, but do you guys have to take like everything?
Yeah,
Come on, man. Come on. Anyway, so I thought Kushida and Kenta's stuff at the beginning was pretty good. I think Motor City, when they're done with Impact, they should go to WWE. They've got a bit of juice in the tank. They need some tag teams over there. I always get confused by that referee. He's always got one long sleeve. One referee's always got one long sleeve, one short sleeve. Why doesn't he just have two long sleeves?
I think it's one of those armband things, like
really
compression sleeve things, maybe.
Maybe it is. So I thought it was great triple team work to echo your sentiments with Motor City and Kushida. I did laugh when Ace Austin went for that dive to the outside and nearly died. Fuck, man.
Yeah,
one day someone's going to get really badly hurt, bro.
He both did it and didn't do it at the same time. Like he executed it and botched it both at once. That's what was weird about it.
I also don't like that soon after that, Bay just knocks someone to the outside and everyone, here's the obligatory dive, runs off the ropes. It was a good dive, but I hate the obligatory shit. But some good near falls. This is awesome chant, which I always pick on the fans for this when it sounds lackluster. Like you can't chant this is awesome. Like this is awesome. Like you should be screaming at it because that is what makes it awesome. You'd be screaming. Fucking hell. So it was a nice surprise win. I did not see that victory for the Bullet Club coming. So, and they probably needed the win. So let's move forward, bro. Let's move forward. It's time for the Knockouts Championship match. Masha Slamovich is challenging Mickie James. And she's still in her last rodeo. If she loses the title, she must retire. Loses a match, she must retire. So I thought to myself, well, Mickey's not retiring at no surrender. Like this, that's not happening. So not many notes here from me. She goes for the Mick DT early on. It always gets reversed the first time, but in this match, it actually got reversed 3 times, and she never actually hit it. Not that it's I'm angry about it. I just thought it was an interesting thing to say. I think my favorite part of the match was when Mickie was biting Masha Slamovich's tongue. That was a great visual, great shot. So props to the team for that one. Slamovich did try a dive to the outside at one stage, which is a little awkward. But I do enjoy her work. I love her trash talk. Good trash talking during the matches, with that thick accent. Random thought in my notes here. Killer Kelly needs more of a push. She's too good, man. Get her back. Get up in the fray. She's awesome and very hot. Good suspense built in this match. A great near fall with that spin Mick kick from Mickie James. I like these near falls right near the end. They kind of protected Masha here. She has great aggression and intensity, but they protected her with this finish by having it be like a pin that way and not like a full blown pinfall 1, 2, 3 from a maneuver. So I thought it was very interesting finish with a reversal of that monkey flip. So good job to the ladies. And once again, bro, Mickie James still is awesome. So like, I think it's a shame that she might be retiring soon. But bro, what did you think of the Knockouts Championship match?
What I think is that every time I watch a Knockouts Championship match, it feels like it's a big deal. And it feels like these are real world championship matches, and you get the same vibe that you might get from watching a women's boxing world title match. It feels like it's authentic, it's a sport, it's not a game. These athletes are serious about what they do, they're professionals. I think Mila Slamovich is a great classic.
Masha Slamovich. Who are you thinking of? What's her name?
Fucking Mila Jovovich, bro. You got it, man. You got it.
I don't know why that made me laugh so much. I don't
Masha
know why.
Slamovich is a great classic heel. I like the fact that you actually hear her vocalize during the matches. I think that she matched up very well to Mickie James, because Mickie James had that very, especially in this match, by contrast, came across very down to earth and sort of just like a very driven but respectful and reserved human being, compared to Masha, who seemed a lot more, I won't say cartoonish, but definitely came across as a lot more flamboyant and a lot more blustery than Mickie James. So that character contrast, I think, really added a nice dynamic to the match. I mean, it was never any doubt for me that it was going to be a good match in terms of the in-ring work, but I really feel like there was a good dynamic in terms of the character work as well. And I'm going to give this one a C+. I thought it was a pretty decent match.
Cool, bro. I'm glad that you thought a few things were dynamic. Did you think there was a dynamic ending to the match as well?
Sure.
Yeah, cool, bro. Well, great match there between Mickie and Mila Jovovich. Main event time, baby. Main event time. Josh Alexander defending the belt against Rich Swann. They're friends, and they're about to fight, bro. What did you think of the main event?
A-. I actually thought this was a very good match. I think that Rich Swann was able to highlight all of his strengths as a performer and hide some of the weaknesses. So some of the stuff that he occasionally does, which can look a bit more on the contrived side, I felt like he didn't overdo it, and his stuff was well placed throughout the match, which meant that it looked visually impressive, but it also made sense in the context of this being a very important world championship match. And I really feel like both guys played that role. They played it serious. They performed with a serious goal in mind, and it looked like these were two athletes very focused on proving something to each other as friends, proving something to themselves as professionals, and obviously the goal of defending the title in Alexander's case and winning it and acquiring it in Rich Swann's case. The friendship thing, I mean, I've never known them to be great friends. I'm not sure how much of their friendship is being talked up for the sake of the angle, and or whether they are actually just, BFFs in real life. But I appreciated what they were trying to do. It almost looked at times like Josh Alexander, like Alexander was kind of going to turn heel in a way, because as the match wore on, Rich Swann just had that underdog vibe that people were getting behind. But Josh Alexander is just a beast as well. I mean, it's like you've said before, he's kind of Impact's present day answer to Kurt Angle. He's like a Kurt Angle of 2023. And I think we saw a lot of that in this match. This was kind of a modern day Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle. Not that this was necessarily as good as that feud, but it had that vibe for me. It was some very impressive high flying and footwork and finesse from Rich Swann, contrasted with that smash mouth but very technically sound catch as catch can ability of Josh Alexander, and I loved it. It managed to keep me engaged. Even though usually by the end of a pay-per-view, I'm starting to get pretty worn down.
Yeah, fair enough, bro. So wow, an A-. No Jooseyboy recommendation for that one, though.
Oh yeah, it's a Jooseyboy recommendation. Go out of your way to check it out.
And I just realized this whole time I've been doing this review with you, bro, that I was using my microphone connected to the computer, not my actual microphone. So hopefully it hasn't sounded too shit. Has it sounded okay, Jooseyboy?
It sounded all right.
Okay. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Josh's reign has been pretty epic, to be honest. And they've been doing a great job, in making a babyface champion that has layers to his character and who he is as a person. And that they give us reasons for us to back him and care for him. Which is something that I find that a lot of the wrestling companies out there fail to do, is make a babyface champion interesting and have those layers. I'm not going to talk too much about the things that happened in the match like I usually do. Just some highlights, though. You know what? Not even like talking about the match. This show was better than the Dynamite I watched the other day. Just saying. Just saying, it was.
You couldn't leave it alone.
Okay, so that was some great spots. Swann getting backdropped, but he landed on his chest and face. That was awesome. But again, the grumbles. Is that even a word? A grumble? I'm not happy with Rich Swann again with his leg slaps, because they're the most obvious in wrestling history. He even slaps his leg, Jooseyboy, when people hit him. I can't believe it. It's just enough, bro. Enough. It was a very good, intense matchup. I would recommend it too, but I'm not going to do a Karlifornia recommendation. I'm just going to say,
don't ever do that again.
It's a Karlifornia recommendation. Check it out. Yeah, I love the reversal of the Rana into the ankle lock. Again, another thing that I hate, that I see too much of in wrestling these days, is people using a fucking ripcord. Oh, these things that everyone uses. Everyone uses the same shit.
Yeah.
But here, the finish of this match was the best part of the whole show. C4 Spike amazingly hit. And love that Rich rolled out the way, because that's what you would do. If you're so desperate, you'd try and roll onto your stomach at least, so then your opponent has to roll you back over to get the pinfall attempt. It's just a little bit more time that you needed. Great psychology. I liked the fact that the crowd chanted "Let's go Swann," and Josh paid attention to it, which kind of actually ended up being a part of the psychology of what took place next. After there was a great little Phoenix splash there from Rich Swann, and then a good near fall after a cutter, the springboard cutter. But I knew after that, at some point, the finish would be coming soon. And yep, he got caught in another springboard, tombstoned, picked right back up, C4 Spike. It's over, baby. Josh wins, retains the title. Looking forward to seeing what happens with him and Steve Maclin coming up soon. Jooseyboy, there we go. There's our no surrender review. Now, we have to find out your final thoughts and rating out of 10.
Yeah, well, I mean, my rating out of 10 is going to be an 8. Tremendous show. Impact Wrestling never seems to disappoint whenever I'm fortunate enough to tune in. Pretty much every division in the company right now, I'm interested in seeing where they go from here. Echo your sentiments. Very excited to see Maclin and Alexander in a championship match. Imagine the physicality of that. Let us know what you thought, though. I want to hear some ratings and thoughts from people out there. Why are you so close to the camera, you fuckhead? It's like
the whole time, just slowly moving closer and closer to your face on my screen. Sorry, bro. I'm dealing with a lack of sleep, but very nice, bro. Very nice. I might give this one a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed the show. Wasn't good enough to be an 8, but it was pretty good. You know, I didn't find myself bored at any point. So, and you know, I'm interested to see where some of the stories are going as well. So there we go. Jooseyboy, thank you for your time, bro. I've had so much fun here tonight.
A guy like me, someone like me. Yeah, like in his forehead, bro. Like
the clunk of it is awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again.
Well, thank you, Jooseyboy. Thank all of you out there for joining us here for the Impact Wrestling No Surrender review. I'm Karlifornia. This is Jooseyboy. Check us out on ProWrestlingTees.com under our shop, Thunder Mifflin, and we will see you down the road. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.